I'll go ahead and start recording. Just a little reminder, we have our world-class outcomes, and we are going to be looking at those again when we look at our rubric and decide what our grade is so far. And of course, after today, hopefully you'll go and make some changes to the letter and you'll get all fours. Let's hope. All right. So let me pull up the rubric on another screen and I'll just have it up and ready. And here's what you're going to be graded on. So I know we've looked at this a little bit before, but your goal is to have all fours. You want to get the highest score possible. Threes aren't too bad either, but just try to focus more on the fours. So the organization of your letter will be graded. The reasons that you give will be graded. Oh, finally, my other computer logged in. Okay. So the reasons that you give in your letter, so we need at least two, and I think your letter does have two so far, so I think we're good there. Grammar and mechanics, we're going to make sure there's no errors. And then our world-class outcomes. So our world-class outcomes really focused a lot on including facts and opinions. And each of you chose which world-class outcome you thought you could work on specifically. So if you were going to add facts or if you were and data, or if you were going to be more opinion based. And then of course you're going to be graded for your individual efforts. And I can tell who types onto the document. So it's not too hard for me to tell who did what. Okay, so let's go to our letter and see what we had or have so far. But first of all, did either of you get any chance to go and watch these videos and get a little extra help on persuasive letter writing?
No.
No, but well, you're in luck because you don't have to have it done, your part of the letter done until Thursday. So today, if we have a little time at the end of our session, we can go and start watching them again. But they're linked right here on your document, so they're not hard to find. And yes, I will make it bigger. Thank you for reminding me. Oh, that's really big. I don't know. Hold on. Maybe 150%. Is that okay? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to read out loud and you can follow along with me so that we don't make Emma talk when she's not feeling good. And just read along with me and think in your mind. I want you to think about, does it sound good? Am I making any grammatical errors? Um, do I have enough reasons to support my claim? And then you could also think to yourself, have I contributed yet? And then are both world class outcomes in this letter? So do we both have facts and opinions? Okay, here we go. Dear Mr. Editor, what would the world be like without some important inventions like the Land Rover, the heart pacemaker, satellites, cell phones, and smaller computers? I wouldn't like to find out. I'm writing this letter in support of the space program, the reason all of these inventions are possible. We have also been able to cooperate with other nations because of the space program. There are many things we have learned from traveling and exploring space. There are still many more things we have yet to learn. We have learned how to cooperate and communicate with other nations because of our need to explore space. The International Space Station is a good example of this. The countries of US, Russia, Japan, and Canada, as well as other countries in the European Space Agency, are all collaborators on this project. The space station is a testing lab for future space travel and long-term exploration into space. Grammatical error, by the way, Emma, is am I using, did I make a punctuation error or capitalization error, that kind of thing. Throughout the history of space exploration, one thing has always been true. Scientists have had to invent and discover new ways to get things done. Things like communicating with astronauts while they are in space and filtering water so that it is drinkable. These inventions and discoveries have turned into things that are now common in our everyday lives. Without these inventions, we would not have cell phones, hearing aids, water filters, or memory foam, along with many other technologies. Because these inventions are so popular, there are a lot of jobs that now exist to produce them. By continuing space exploration, scientists will discover new ways to solve problems and create inventions that we might be able to use in the future. Okay, so what do you guys think so far? What do you think, AJ? How did it sound?
I think it sounds pretty good.
Okay, all right, sounds pretty good. I agree. I think it sounds pretty good. Um, I did notice one thing, and this is just kind of something that you, as you get older and older, you're going to recognize more. When you put things into an introduction paragraph like this one, and the first thing we talked about was inventions. That should be my first paragraph in the body. Okay, because if I mention it first in the intro, it should be my first paragraph. And then the second thing we talked about was cooperating with other nations. So that should be my second paragraph. So I'm just going to go ahead and change the order of those. Welcome, Micah.
Hello.
Glad to have you. We are editing our letter right now, and we are just working on it to make it better so that it is done and in its final form for Thursday. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I just read it out loud to everybody, but I'm not going to do that again. Um, okay, let's look at our rubric and see what we would score this product so far. So I'm going to try to put both of them on my screen. Hopefully this will work. Oops. There we go. Okay. Try to pull up the rubric a little bit here. Okay. So let's start with our very first category, organization. Read to yourself what you would need to have a 3 or a 4 for the score on this letter. And then tell me which one. You could type into the chat what you think you would give it, a 3 or a 4. Hmm. Okay, good, AJ. AJ thinks that it deserves a 3. Let me challenge you. Reread your conclusion. Do we have a personal opinion, or do we strongly state a personal opinion in our conclusion? We might need to fix that a little bit, because this section right here, a conclusion, is included, but it does not clearly state a personal opinion. I think we're more in the 2 range for our conclusion.
Okay.
But, and Emma, maybe you're thinking the same thing. I do think our introduction is pretty inviting. I like, remember how we watched that video on persuasive letter writing? One way to start a persuasive letter is by having a thought provoking question. And I think we have a thought provoking question in our very first sentence. And then we gave an overview of the issue. I think we did. I think we talked about we need more funding. And then remember how I just fixed the order of our paragraphs? I think that now we have the logical order of our paragraphs because of the way I mentioned them in the introduction. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Emma says the first one should be a 3, and then all right, the first should be 3, the second would be 4. Okay. So she's maybe breaking it up by what she thinks each paragraph would deserve. That's cool. Now reasons for support. We already talked about this earlier. Oh, to get a 4, I'm sorry, we need at least 3 reasons. Hmm. It looks like so far this paper has two reasons for continuing space exploration. We have the reason that inventions, come from that technology, and then we have the second reason that we learned how to cooperate with other nations. If we want to get a four, we're going to have to get one more reason to continue space exploration. Does that make sense? Yes, thumbs up. Okay, you can type into the chat if you're not feeling very vocal today, and that's fine. Thank you, Emma, for responding. Okay, so here's what you would need to do. If you need to add one more reason, which you know that you do, where do you go to find all of that? Oh, and I took it off of the agenda. Darn it. Hold on. I'll put it back on for you so that it's really easy for you to find. Where would you go to find more reasons in your that you can use in your letter? I'm showing it on the screen. You would go to your resource bank. Okay. So all of these documents and all of this data is in support of space exploration. So I would challenge you to find one more reason out of all of this stuff, and there's a ton. You could probably find 15 more reasons. And you're going to need to include it. Okay? So think to yourself, if you have not contributed yet to the letter, that would be a really good thing for you to do. You would be able to maybe add that third reason and then get your group a score of 4. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to take this link and I'm going to put it onto your letter. So I'm just typing it in right now. I'm going to call it the resource bank. Oops. All right. And I'm going to link it so that you can go and pull up all of those documents really easily. Okay, let's move on to grammar, spelling, and mechanics. Well, we know that if there was any spelling errors, they would be underlined in red, and so I don't see any spelling errors. I think there was a couple things that maybe sounded awkward. Let me find the sentence that was awkward. Oh, okay. Starting sentences with words like things. It's better if we and see I see the word things again. If we could be more specific instead of using the word things, I think it would be better. So let's see how we can change that. Things like communicating with astronauts while they are in space. How about we just say communicating with astronauts? We don't need to say things. It's going to make it sound better. Communicating with astronauts while they are in space and filtering water so that it is drinkable is possible due to the technology we've discovered. Okay, so I just made that a better sounding sentence, and you can just thank me for fixing that for you. If somebody wants to go back later to improve your group score and take out those really general kind of silly words like things and things that are not specific, okay? Oh, and here we go again. Things. That's kind of boring language. Okay, type a happy face into the chat or a thumbs up if this is making sense for you so far. That we're just going through the rubric. Well, it's okay, Jaden, you just got here. We're just going through the rubric and we are scoring our paper, or I should say our letter, as of today. So that by Thursday, you guys will have a chance to go back in and make any changes that you want for your final product. Okay? All right. So now let's go down to our world-class outcomes. Both world-class outcomes need to be clear. So we need multiple views on the issue are acknowledged. We have not talked about the other side. Okay. We would need to say people are against space exploration, but they are wrong because, and then give some detail. This is more of your opinion that we were talking about with our world-class outcomes, and the data is more of those facts that need to be included. Okay. So far, I see a lot of facts. I don't see as many supported opinions in our paper yet. So let's read this column and see if we would score a 3. Let's read it to yourself. Okay. Yeah, I definitely think right now we're scoring a 3 because we have evidence of some of the world-class outcomes and their influence. Like we have a lot of those facts, and we have data, a little bit of data, but it's not real clear and some of it's lacking. So let's go back and just quickly peek at those world-class outcomes. So looking at other people's views on issues around the world to make your own point of view. So like I said, we need to at least acknowledge that there is another side to the issue. That could be a job for somebody who has not contributed yet. You can put in that part about the other side of the issue and why they are wrong. You need to make sure that you don't say that they're right. And then looking at numbers to solve our problems and adding more data into our letter. Okay. And then this individual efforts thing, I'm not going to call you out individually, but I want you to think to yourself, where would you personally score right now, today? Would you get a 4, a 3, a 2, or a 1? So send me a private message of what you would get for individual efforts. While you're reading those, I'm going to put comments on our letter to just remind you of what we talked about today. Okay, and then my last thought, we had to fix our conclusion. Okay. Okay. All right. So I haven't got, okay, I got a couple people responding to what they would get for their individual efforts and what you have contributed so far to the product. Here's what you're going to need to do by Thursday. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this letter. I'll just take this out because we've already started it. Here is our resource bank that we were looking at earlier, right? With all of those documents that you can pull facts and opinions from. Here is that rubric that I've been showing you all morning over here so that you can kind of continue to look at it. And then here are some more videos that, and we watched a couple last week, but if you want to go back and watch a little bit more on persuasive letter writing, this could help you. But here's what I really want you to focus on are those comments that I made today. What I've just done today is I've gone through the rubric with you, and we've kind of scored what your product would be so far. And over here, I've made comments on how to make it better so that you can get a better score. So we need to add the opposing viewpoint and why they are wrong. So we need to make sure that we at least mention that there is another side to the issue. Okay? We need to add one more reason why we should spend money on space exploration. It needs to be mentioned in the introduction paragraph, and it needs to have its own paragraph full of details. And then we need to add a strong personal statement into our conclusion. Okay. All right, so I'm answering a question from Emma in the private chat. I want you guys to just think about all that for just a second. Okay. So are there any questions on what you need to do by Thursday when we present our products?
No.
No? Okay. So Micah, do you have an idea of maybe what you can contribute to the letter? Micah, are you there? Oh, your microphone's off.
No, I was just gone for a second. What was the question again?
Do you have an idea of maybe what you can contribute to the letter for Thursday?
Well, me and my mom were talking about that, and I'm still thinking, figuring out what I'm going to do in triplet, right?
Okay. Well, here's a good starting
Yeah.
place for you, Micah. Here, these three comments that I'm kind of running my cursor over right now, that's where you can really add to this letter because that's what's going to get your group a higher score because we just went through the rubric. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you need to, and Emma just asked, how can I, contribute? Choose one of these things that you would like to do to add to the letter. Maybe you want to be the person who adds another reason to continue space exploration and writes another paragraph. Maybe you want to beef up this conclusion sentence and make it better. Or maybe you want to be the person who adds the opposing viewpoint and why they are wrong. Okay?
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that was short and sweet, but it was very, very useful. So I can't wait to see this letter on Thursday. And that's when we're going to present it to everybody else. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording so that I can have 3 separate recordings today with my 3 different groups. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Happy Monday. See you later. See you Thursday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye.